Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel. Today we're here to talk about the Midnight Magic Tarot, a tarot deck of mushrooms by Sara Richard. Now, I waited and waited for this deck to be released. There are a few other mushroom decks out in the market. This one really captured my attention because it's on this black background and it's just beautiful. It just looked absolutely gorgeous. The focus of this particular mushroom deck, like all other mushroom decks, is this unique and mysterious world of the mushrooms. And in this particular deck, the creator has cleverly matched up the characteristics of the mushrooms alongside the archetypes of the tarot. And personally, mushrooms are a very intriguing thing for me. I do like to drink. Okay, I'm going to try to hide what just happened here, but there was a huge gust of wind right now and it just affected everything in the house. So I'm going to try to cover that up so you guys don't have to hear that. But anyhow, I was going to say that what I love about mushrooms is just the difference in qualities of mushrooms, that you can take them from this culinary standpoint. And for me, eating mushrooms is just like, it's heavenly. They're meaty and the consistency of them can just take the place of meats, which I absolutely love. And then they have real healing abilities. So you can drink mushroom coffee. I have tried to integrate a few mushroom coffees into my week because I drink a lot of coffee. But also the healing benefits of mushrooms. If you are familiar with Maria Sabina from Mexico, from Oaxaca, she is or was a shaman who lived in Oaxaca. She was using mushrooms as a plant medicine. Let me go ahead and share the deck with you. So here is the box. It comes in this really nice quality box, has a little notch holes here on the side, has this nice little guidebook. As far as the guidebook is concerned, it's a very nicely put together guidebook. It's 137 pages, not counting the notes pages. She does give you a few little spaces here for notes, which with this guide or with this deck, I think it's pretty important to keep some notes. As far as the rest of the guidebook, she has 4 spreads in here, but nothing really specific to this deck. There's a 1-card spread, a past, present, and future, the Celtic cross, and the 6-card pentagram. But like I said, nothing specific for this deck. As far as the majors are concerned, there's a full color picture of the card, and then a description, which includes a description of the characteristics of the mushroom, as well as the upright and reversed, along with keywords and a brief little description of the cards. Very well done. As far as the minors are concerned, they're on 1 page. It's a small picture, but it still has all the same information. So from the majors to the minors, the only difference is that you get a bigger picture in the majors and a smaller picture in the minors. Now, over here, she states to consider keeping a notebook to record what is revealed in the cards. Now, I would suggest keeping a notebook if you really want to know the cards upon just pulling them out, other than the title of the card, if you want to be familiar with the qualities of the mushrooms. So let's get into the box. As I stated, it's a really nice box, has a little notch holes, but now the inside of the box, when you take that cover off, look at how pretty it has. All these little bugs, little salamander, ladybugs. I mean, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous box. But this, what is this? Why? I mean, I know they didn't want these to fly around, but I would think that they could have made this just a wee bit smaller, condensed it a little bit. I don't know if it would have affected, I mean, I'm sure it would affect the font size a little bit. I don't know. I just think this is so weird because the box overall is fantastic. It's a great quality box, but I just don't get that. All right. So I put the cards in order because I would not personally recognize the cards if there was no title on them, because I'm not like I said, I'm not familiar with mushrooms, and there's not that much in there to give me an indication of what we're looking at. So I put them in order so that way you could see them straight out the box. It's just about the size of your standard RWS, just a little bit of a difference, but really, really not that much. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cards. Sara Richard is an Eisner and Ringo Award nominated artist whose art is described as a skew into the macabre and unknown, with a balance of sweetness and sentimentality, honoring the Victorian era theme with memento mori. I absolutely love her art. Now, I looked into Sara Richard because I had never heard of her before. I hadn't heard about her as far as being involved with tarot or anything of that sort. And I did find a website called sararichard.com. However, it redirects you to another website called 1988.com. And through there, I discovered her Instagram, and apparently she has just some beautiful art and also does some comics as well. So she's a comic artist, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool, but she has some really neat art on her Instagram, so you might want to check it out. I'll put all of the links down below. Now, as far as the cards are concerned, I think that this art is absolutely just stunning. There are a few nods to the Rider-Waite-Smith if you look closely, but you do have to look closely. So if you're familiar with mushrooms and their names, then you might be able to associate the characteristics of that specific mushroom to the archetypal energy of that tarot card. However, I'm not. So for me, it's really going to take me working with the guidebook each and every time in order to read these cards. I'm okay with that because, as everybody might already know, one of my favorite decks is the Herb Crafter's Tarot, and the Herb Crafter's Tarot is the same way. You really have to dig into the guidebook to understand what you're looking at. And over time, you become familiar enough with the deck itself that you remember the meanings and the characteristics of that particular item that you're looking at within the deck. Like I said, there are a few nods. Here, there's like a little staff here with the Hermit. I mean, there's a few things in here. If you look closely, you can kind of see like here with the Lovers, you have the two mushrooms. There is little nods through here that you can kind of relate to your basic meaning. So the High Priestess, you have the light and the dark trees here on the side to kind of represent those pillars. The Fool, of course, you're not going to have a dog running through the woods, but they do show a wolf here with the Fool. So like I said, they do have a few correspondence within the deck that you can associate with your regular RWS. What I love about the guidebook is that, like I said earlier, she did this so cleverly, where she really matched up the characteristics of that particular mushroom to the archetypal energy of the card that you're reading. It's just amazing. Looking at her Instagram, her art is extremely clear. So I'm going through some of the pros and cons right now. The art is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely stunning, but it is almost, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, because in looking at her art on Instagram, there's no fuzziness in her art, but yet here, and I don't know if it's because of the black contrast within the deck that they kind of made it fuzzy. I'm not quite sure, but I don't see that in her art. But it's beautiful. Nonetheless, it is beautiful. I absolutely adore the art in this deck. It is just wonderful. As far as the backs are concerned, the backs are very pretty, and it almost looks like the bottom of the mushrooms are just being illuminated by the moonlight, which is true to the name of the deck, Moonlight Magic. And you are underneath, you're observing these mushrooms from underneath. That's what it seems like to me, and you do see the night sky. So it's a very beautifully created deck as far as the art is concerned. The guidebook is absolutely amazing. And it does have this really dark and moody feel to it, which I really love. Okay, like I said, I love everything about this. I love even how soft the numbers and titles are, like at the top. They're not that stark white. Each particular suit, so in the majors, you just have the number on the top, but on the suits, they're identified with a little bit different of the border here. So each one of them is just a little bit different. There's a bird of paradise. That's my oldest son's favorite, is the bird of paradise. And then, as you can see, so you hear some wheat here with the pentacles, and that makes perfect sense right there with the pentacles. I don't know what kind of flower this is, but it's very pretty. I like it. And that as well with the wands looks kind of fiery as well. So now we're here to talk about what I don't like. I don't like the cardstock. The cardstock is really, really bad. So it's matte, which is great, but the cardstock it feels like cardboard. Now I brought out this deck right here, which is the, oh my gosh, how did I just forget what this deck is called? The Buddha Tarot. I brought out the Buddha Tarot because although I love this deck as well, it's very similar to the Buddha Tarot, and that's what I don't like about the Buddha Tarot, is that this is the mass market edition. that it just feels like cardboard. And this is similar. This is a little stiffer. And I think the only reason that it's stiffer is because of the size. It's such a difference in size that by default, this would be a little bit more floppy than the Midnight Magic Tarot because of the size. It's not as floppy. But guys, cardstock is really bad. However, I'm willing to work with that because I absolutely love the deck. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, another thing that I noticed, and I think it fell off, when I got this deck, my husband and I were all going out to my local favorite coffee place, Pechoto Coffee. I love it so much. And I opened it there. I just took it with us and I opened it there. But I noticed that some of the corners, and then if you can see here, I don't know if you can tell, but it's already kind of lifting up here on some of these areas on the edges. And some of these corners, see this one right here, the Hanged Man. Can you see that? Can you see that it's bent already? It came that way. I did not do that. It was bent, and then some of them had like a little thing that was hanging off the corner here, like they didn't cut it right. So I don't know what to do about that. I'm probably gonna have to, at one point or another, get another copy. Thank goodness it's mass market because it's easy to obtain. But that's what I don't like about this deck. Otherwise, it's absolutely beautiful. Her art is gorgeous. And I've really had a nice time working with this deck. I really didn't want to put it back in order because, you know, I feel like once you have that ongoing, like, involvement or relationship with the deck, that you shouldn't put it back in order because it kind of messes up the flow. However, with the nature of this deck, I just felt like I had to put back in order so you could see it from the beginning to the end to identify each particular card in order. Pairings, you know I love to pair decks, and that is the way that I work with my decks, is in pairings. So this deck matches up with so many. I have so many here for you guys. So I'm going to try to get through it as quickly as I can with you guys. But this is the Oracle of Echoes. And I didn't even try this at first. And as I was going over before I was preparing for this, I thought, wait a minute, wait a minute, try this. Guys, this is really, really pretty together. Look at the art because, you know, the art in the Oracle of Echoes is just outstanding. It's beautiful art, and it has that wispy type quality to it as well, with kind of like this blurriness of colors, so it kind of matches in quite well with the Midnight Magic Tarot. The Earthbound Oracle, I don't know if this is available or not anymore, but this is one of my favorite little decks. It is so versatile. It's such a great little deck, but these two really work well together. It's so good, guys. So if you're just, you know, if you know the basic meanings of the cards, you can just stick with this and not have to dig into the guidebook just based on that. But it is really enriching when you match up the meaning of each mushroom to the qualities or characteristics of the card. It's just an amazing read. It's really, really great. And then the Earthbound Oracle as well. There's no guidebook for it, so you're just, you know, but look at these. Look at how beautifully they work together. Oh my goodness, it's really, really good. Okay, Practical Magic Oracle deck. And that's this one here, the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle, which is a beautiful, beautiful deck. And again, you have those deep black backgrounds with this beautiful image on the top. And then the colors just really work together. I haven't worked side by side with the deck or with both of these decks. Oh, my son just went away. But it is just really, really good together. I'm going to open up the window just a little bit. Hope that's a little better, guys. But as you can see, these images are just beautiful together. Look at that. And I think that the readings with these two together would be really, really good because it has that whole magic vibe going on within the two. Next is the Literary Witches Oracle. Now, I am excited about this because anytime I can use this Oracle deck and it really matches up, guys, the sun is going in and out, so we're just going to have to deal with the fact that, you know, it has these, this video is going to have like these bright spots and dimmer times as well. But these worked so good together. I did work with these a bit. These are really good, and I love the Literary Witches and how mysterious when you think about these women and the subjects that they were writing upon and the things that they were dealing with in life. It really kind of sets the tone when you're working with the Midnight Magic Tarot. It really kind of changes the overall feel from the readings that you're getting, because to me, when I start working with this deck here, it just makes my mind wander about what these women were thinking, what they were going through, how were they feeling, and then you kind of combine that with this deck. It's really pretty intense. Now here's another deck that I was really pretty excited to put side by side. I haven't worked with them together yet, but just looking at them, I think they'll work really well. And the overall scheme of both decks, I think is gonna work really well together. So we're talking about the Woodland Wardens. Every time I pick up the Woodland Wardens, it makes me think of Krista over at Crochet Witch Tarot. She works a lot with this deck, and I don't know, it just brings her to my mind when I think about this deck. But you have this dark background in the back, and I keep saying this, but she edged or trimmed this deck so it's just around the inner edge of this deck here. So taking out this white thing, and I think if I do that, it'll just make it stand out even more. But this is a gorgeous deck, and the whole idea of being in the woods with these two decks, I think it will work beautifully together. I love the colors together. Okay, next I have the Threads of Fate. I have the Rose Edition, and this is one of my like all-time favorite decks. It is just a beautiful deck. It has a lot of shamanistic type of messages within the deck, and then mushrooms, you know, Maria Sabina. It just feels like it would work well together. I have not worked with these two as a pair yet, but just looking at them aesthetically, I think that they would work really well, especially with the messages in the Threads of Fate deck. I think it would work really well with this tarot deck. And last but not least, if you saw my monthly wrap-up, then you already know that I worked with the Herbal Astrology along with this deck. And this is one of my all-time favorite decks, guys. I love this deck. But these two, oh my goodness, you have so much earth energy involved in the two. So much magic, so much just beautiful healing properties involved in the two. It's just magical. These are just, look at that. Oh my gosh. I love that when that one comes up. But anyhow, these are really good together. And you have some people in here, so it kind of matches that energy of people in the earth and working together with the plants and everything else. So it's really magical together. Okay guys, so you know, I'm really bad at shuffling. You guys all know that, but I'm gonna show you an overhand shuffle. And as best as, see now it's just flying all over the place, and I know I'm bad at shuffling. However, this deck tends to do that. Now, if you like reading with a deck that just gives, what are they called? Flyers? This might be the deck for you. You might really like to do this. If you like to riffle shuffle, this is chunky because of the stock involved with this deck. And as you can see, it has a bow because of this. When, oh my goodness, when you riffle shuffle it, just a few riffles, and it just bows. I can't even do it with this deck. It's really hard. But as you can tell, you see how bent it is and how it makes that horrible flapping sound. That's because of the cardstock. The cardstock is really bad. Now, I'm not good at shuffling, but the cardstock is really bad. So I'm not even going to pretend that it's not, but the deck is so good that I'm just going to work with it. I'll just, you know, put it the other way and shuffle it the other way a few times to kind of straighten it out, to try to get rid of that little bow within the deck. It does bend back pretty easily because it's pretty much like cardboard. But guys, the art is amazing. The messages are amazing. And as you can see, I paired it up with so many decks within my collection. Again, if you have some decks that you think would pair nicely with this deck, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to know. And let me know what you think about this deck. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful day. From my heart to yours, I will see you later.